So it's Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by former two-time world champion Paul Butler. And Paul, you're not just a former two-time world champion, you're also Seconds Out's chief Naoya Inoue correspondent, it seems. What did you make of his latest victory over Luis Nery?
I thought he was very good, mate. I thought he was super focused, super switched on. I thought he seen something a little bit different in him today than what he'd have done previously. I think the ring walk, he just looked, I don't know, he looked like he wanted to do damage on someone tonight. Normally he walked in, he's focused, he's switched on, but he's the nice guy, do you know what I mean? He did look completely different today. To me anyway, from what I've seen in the past.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he came out in the first round, a lot of intent, very aggressive. But he got dropped early on, which no one was expecting. The first time in his career, he's been down. Great shot, overhand left from Southpaw, Luis Nery.
Yeah.
How hurt do you think he was?
I think it buzzed him. That's why he stayed to the 8th. I do think it buzzed him. It was a shot that when you watch it back on in between rounds, it's a shot he doesn't see, and they're the ones that do hurt you, and they're the ones that do the damage. He fully recovers straight away. I do think he's fully recovered, because he's taunting him towards the end of the round, and he's laughing, he's smiling, and yeah, I think he comes out second round and he's got that focus straight back on his face again. He's got that poker face about him, and again he wants to do damage straight away, and he drops him again straight away with a nice left hook, to be fair.
Yeah, so he got his knockdown back, and then after that, it just seemed like Nery went into his shell a little bit. Fearful of the power and the speed of the shots as well.
Yeah, I do think that left hook hurt him, and I think he was a little bit cautious himself, Nery, about how good Inoue's feet actually were, because I think every time he was chasing that left hand, Nery, he'd bring his back leg over with him, and that's where he got caught with the left hook. And instead of taking the front foot an extra step forward, he'd just bring the back foot round, and you can't do that with Inoue, because he is that good and he's that clever and he's that smart. He's that quick to capitalise on your mistakes. That's exactly what happened.
Who do you see out there, if anyone, around the weight class, whether super bantam, feather, or whatever, that can test Inoue, let alone beat
him? At the moment, do you know what? That's probably been the question. What, my phone's been red hot for the last hour or so. Do you know what I mean? Since he's boxed, everyone's like, "Oh, he's on it. He's on now. He's ring walking." Since he won, my phone's been red hot. And that's one of the questions: who beats him? Now, my answer to that is eventually size will beat him. And I think that's the case. What happened with Loma? Eventually, you're chasing greatness that much that eventually the size will become a big part in the fight. And I think he knows that himself deep down, that size could play a part, because that's why he's staying at bantamweight. Super bantam. Because he knows he holds all the belts there. What's the point in taking that big risk and going up to featherweight? At the moment, there's no point. I don't know who beats him, to be fair. I do think he win world titles at the moment at featherweight, but it's who can actually keep him off, because he can obviously still bang at super bantamweight. I'm sure he'll be able to bang at featherweight as well. It's literally who can keep him off for that amount of time. Do you know what I mean? Everyone said Fulton could possibly do it. He couldn't. Nery was a banger himself. He popped him, but he gets up, he fully recovers, and he takes him out in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, it's hard to see who there could be. You've got Brandon Figueroa, of course. He's only lost to Fulton, beaten Nery in the past, got him out there in pretty impressive fashion. Yeah. But looking at Figueroa, he's a great fighter. It's hard to see him having anything that Inoue hasn't seen or overcome before.
That's it. That's the problem. Everyone keeps saying, yeah, but has he boxed a puncher? I think he was probably hit harder by Donaire than he was tonight by Nery. I just think it was the shot that he didn't see with Nery. So I do think there might be a question mark about the chin now, but nah, there's no question marks there because Donaire can whack, and Donaire didn't half touch his chin in the 9th round of the first fight, and he recovered well there. So I don't think there's any question marks over the chin. I think the chin would be fine at featherweight as well. It's just maybe above featherweight is where he may come unstuck.
Do you think he'll risk it? Do you think he'll go up to feather to find that challenge?
I do think super feather would be too much because he's only small. Do you know, when we done our head to head and I looked at him, I honestly thought, how are you knocking people's spark out the way you do? Because he's small. I know that was at bantamweight and he struggled with bantamweight, but he's small. Do you know, in stature,
He
his
looked a
legs are
smaller man
massive.
against Nery today, I thought.
Yeah, he did. And he has done previously in his last 2 super bantam fights as well. But it's the presence more so than anything and the way he sets stuff up. You know he's setting stuff up in there, which sort of like he's won half the battle already. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think he might struggle a little bit legacy-wise because he hasn't got those dance partners, those kind of big names that he can beat to further enhance his legend?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, he's got no real big rival out there. I think that was like a nice guy versus the bad guy today, wasn't it? And it wasn't really like touted as, wow, this is, do you know what I mean? I only heard of it today that the Japanese didn't really like him because of the failed drug tests, the missing weight all them years ago. I knew there was talks of them two fighting years ago when Nery held the WBC, but yeah, that never really happened. So there was a little bit of needle there tonight, but I think other than that, he hasn't got no real big challenges. What are calling him out, has he?
It's a shame in a way for him, and no
Mm,
pun intended. But because he's obviously sought out challenges, he's moved up through the weights relatively quickly. But as you
mm-hmm.
say, unless he goes beyond featherweight, which is a big risk, there aren't really those defining fights.
No, there's not, which is a shame because you want to see him pushed and you want to see him. Well, personally, I want to see him pushed and I want to see the boundaries that he can go to and how far he can actually push himself. Do you know what I mean? It'd be nice to see him go up to feather. I thought he'd go straight to feather after um, undisputed,
Mm.
but no, he obviously knows he's not big enough and he's probably not ready for the featherweights. I do think he would win featherweight titles now,
Mm.
but you've got to look at the long run, haven't you? And that's what he'll be looking at. He'll be looking at defending a few times, and I do think he'll go up next year.
We shall see. Now, you've obviously got a huge fight of your own in just 5 days' time for the IBO belt. I think you said to my colleague, it's not a stepping stone. I can't remember how you described it, but something to have in your possession for those bigger fights, some leverage to get into the main 4 world titles. How's everything going? How's camp been? And how are you feeling with 5 days out?
Camp's good, mate. Feeling good. I feel fresh. We've got like 4 days now to the weigh-in. Everyone knows the weigh-in's the best bit. Get the weigh-in out the way, then you can concentrate big time on the fight. So yeah, it's just a week of just maintaining the weight, dropping a little bit. I've got my last check weight tomorrow, so once that's out the way, it's literally all eyes on the weigh-in. Studying the fighter, which we have done for a while now, but literally just rejogging the memory, going over tactics, and becoming IBO champion, which then gives me something to go to the table with one of the world champions. Do you know what I mean? Like, look what it done for or Arthur against Bivol. It gives him a place at the table. Do you know what I mean? And I think all the bantamweight titles are in Japan now, I think.
They are.
Yeah, so it'd be nice to get back over to Japan. And if it was Inoue's brother, if it was any of the others, it'd just be nice to get back out there and box over there again.
Yeah, because he beat Maloney on the undercard today.
Yeah.
What did you make of his performance?
I only watched it from 6 rounds in, and I thought he was very good. I'd never heard of him before. I'd just seen his record: eight fights, 8 wins, 8 knockouts. I thought Maloney was. I think he started slow, Well, of what I seen anyway, and what I could hear on the commentary, so I watched it from 6 onwards. He just couldn't seem to get going at any time. I think you've got to give that kid credit for that as well. He was a tricky southpaw. He could obviously bang, and his shots were coming from all different angles. And when you've got a southpaw in front of you throwing them type of shots, it is difficult. So I feel for Maloney there. And then Rodriguez obviously got beat last week in 4 rounds. I haven't seen that fight, but I've seen the kid's face, so it must have been a war for the 4 rounds, and I believe he got done with a body shot.
Yeah, I think someone was saying earlier, 2 of the world champions at Bantam at the moment have had fewer than 10 fights, which is kind of scary in a way, but then maybe for someone like yourself, a bit of an opportunity as well because of the experience.
Yeah, most definitely. I think watching the Maloney fight, I think towards the back end of the fight, I thought Maloney could have stepped his foot on the gas a little bit more. Took a few chances. He only took a chance in the last round, really, and the kid was absolutely dead on his feet. I don't think he pushed him. I don't think he used his experience well enough in the latter stages of the fight, which he could have done. So that's something, if that fight was to ever come off, it'd definitely be something that we'd look at and definitely do ourselves.
Great stuff. Mate, really appreciate your time so soon after the fight and so close to your own fight as well. Best of luck, 5 days time, and yeah, hopefully we'll be calling you new IBO champion and ultimately a 3-time world champion.
Yes, mate, hopefully.
Cheers, Paul. Take care, mate.
Cheers, Dan. Nice one, mate.